Whyalla! And welcome to Josef's Model Railway and Toy Room. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, just a little bit of housekeeping. You don't need to like, follow, or subscribe to any of these videos I put out there. Put them out there where I can, and I have a holly jolly great time doing so. Now, welcome back to what will now be the final piece of creating this park. And if you could see the view I can see from where I'm looking at, it's spectacular. Now, you can clearly obviously see the trees have gone in, which is where we left it from last time. We've obviously got the grass, we've started putting in a few little bits of details now, and now it's the absolute finishing touches. So let's not waste any time now. You've all waited a long time for us to get to this particular video, and I have absolutely no idea where we're going to be going after this one. So let's dive in and enjoy now, shall we? So just a quick recap, we put the fencing in last time, and we got those lamp posts and everything wired up, found a problem where the Woodland Scenics light hub could dim down those beautiful crossing lights, and I teased you with getting a tree in. Now we're going to do it. You can almost smell the pine trees from here. This is taken from the Arco Naturale in Capri, in Italy, actually. It was on my desktop wallpaper one day as I was editing the video. I thought, gee, there's some beautiful trees. I wish I could have them. So it's nice to know that somewhere in the world, someone's thinking like me. Let's get into it. Right, so this is where you last saw the module. We're just about to put the trees down. So what we're going to do now is we're now going to take those little bush, the locomotives and the little wagons there at the moment, and a lot of umming and ahhing about where to place it. Like I said, I wanted the little blue one you can see on the left there to be down off the little point crossing coming onto the main line, but it just didn't work. This seems to be a plausible way to go.
Well, this is going to seem a bit cruel. I don't want to do it, but to complete the scene, we're going to have to lop his legs off. No one really wants to witness that, do they?
Let's hop to it, shall we? So you can see me basically trying to find out of my selection of little figures, and let's be honest, it's, in my honest opinion, the most expensive part of any model railway are the figures themselves. Probably the smallest and most expensive, but got a handful, mostly with the kids and things like that, and trying to get them into different places. They're not being held down with our Micromark tacky glues, the one that we can sort of take off and remove them. You're having to use PVA, particularly with the grass. I want them to stay there. I don't really expect I'll put them anywhere else, so we'll just leave it like that. We can see a lot of back and forwards. I'm often using a pair of side cutters, or sometimes you'll see me with the pegs and other paraphernalia trying to hold them into the exact pose I need the glue to dry in to set them there. In fact, where this scene here that seems to go on forever is just all about making sure the ice cream man, it looks like he's handing the cone to the young girl who's reaching out to it. Anyway, I think we're going to get there in the end. Now we're going to come back just to quickly ease up those holes for the trees, because remember I measured the tree trunks to slide in but I hadn't put bark on them. Now I can scrape it off, but I just gently widen the hole, just the same drill bit, but gently sort of just run it in and out and push it against the side. And now we're going to start planting some trees, which should all be revealed, as we carry on here. I spotted this downhill mountain biker and I just simply couldn't resist to make the effort to try and squeeze it into the scene where I can. So I thought I'd put him racing down that trail. I'm still not sure if I finish what I'm planning to do here, but he'll do for now. Let us come back to it now and get the rest of the trees in. You see my point. These trees are now actually going to be officially glued into place. The rest are sitting there. You can lift them in and out any time, but when it comes to track cleaning and things like that, we can get things done, but those little fiddly bits, when there's no trees in the way, it should be okay. But here's this framing effect, and I think you can, we'll start to break it up with a few different trees, but you really get a real sense of what we're trying to do with these trees now, getting them into the shot. We're not quite done yet though. Just stop and smell the roses if we can. Little progress thing. We're not finished, but you can start to see there's the shot with the ice creams I was trying to get matched up there, and I think it paid off. We'll get some more official ones later on, but I was just playing around with the lighting too, with the shadows, and just to make sure I'm on par with what I wanted. And well, to be fair, I think it's fantastic. In fact, let's just have a look at this one here. This is a tremendous shot, except the cabinet work is always a bit of a problem in the way. So I thought I might just query Copilot, my AI assistant, to show me an image without it. Look, I'm not going to do much of that. If I ever do anything with AI, I will always point out the before and after. I am not into this whole fake sort of situation. I think it looks wonderful, but I always think we have to appreciate and preserve the original. Well, thank you, Joseph, for another fine rant. I did actually just drop in a couple of extra trees. I wasn't recording this, but these are the ones near where that signal gantry is. I wanted to make sure I got clearance. And we've just planted another rather big one at the moment, right on the corner. Just something about it. It might seem like it's blocking off the view to some things, but it needs to be here.
Two sides to every story. This is looking quite good, but we've still got a little bit we're going to move on to now. I need to clean up where those cables are sitting, so we need to put our bushes back. Might put an extra tree or something in around here. I really did want to put a piece of fencing, and now that I've still got a scrap piece, maybe we might just tidy this up around it. Or maybe that'll be a video for another day, I'm not sure. But let's just have a quick look here on the railway line. We're not quite finished. We're going to have to clean all of this up, because instead of this nice snazzy little railway corridor that we should have here, it's an absolute shambles. So let's get all that cleaned up now and put those finishing touches along on everything.
Sorry about all my arm in this one, but yes, I did decide we'll just add an extra tree and get some fencing around that equestrian scene.
This whole scene is really looking rather super. I will carry on with just touching up some fencing around the corner here. However, I think there's just one more thing we need to do. Let's get you in a little bit closer and get some lights on. Yeah, it's just here. We're making do with what we've got. This guy was originally riding a tractor, I think, was part of the scene, but he looks like he's reaching out to pick up his lunch, a banana, or maybe more fuel. But I noticed a few extra characters with some little ones, and I thought we might be able to put this little one sitting in the back, so it looks like he's reaching down to him or something. You know, I must have opened, or nearly attempted to open, must be at least 50 of these boxes by now by knock. Up to and including, I even sent an email to them saying, what's the best way to open these boxes? They never got back, of course. They probably thought I was a fool. But certainly after cutting myself, and I'm still struggling to open this box, which is open, I would do a video if I knew the trick to opening up these blasted contraptions. And generally when you do get them up, it flicks open and all the little characters jump out of the box. Not one of my favourite things. Doesn't quite fit because of that ball he's sitting on, which we just really need to make disappear. Never really anywhere for me to put myself when I do this sort of stuff. Sorry, I'm going to have to get in the way here.
The Wombles of Wimbledon, common are we, making good use of the things that we find.
Can I please drive the train? No, I told you. You stay back there with your brother. Sorry, I forgot to film this bit to see how shiny they were, but I picked up just a couple of these little park benches. I think they'll do the job okay, but they're a little bit too shiny. So I've just taken a little drop of the matte varnish. I'll put that on there, which should do okay to sort of soften it down, and then I'll come over it with a light grey wash. Out here on a beautiful 30-degree day today on the concrete. In fact, we just got a sponge. I put some water on. Let's pat the water out, and you can see how fast that's going to evaporate. we're out here today because we're going to take the dark grey wash. We've just given 2 coats of white paint to some additional fencing that we're going to finish that equestrian scene up with, I've decided. And I think it's looking quite good, but a little bit of the wash on it. It should look very good. I may as well just do this outside while it's nice and hot. It'll only take seconds to dry. So we're just going to decant the wash straight onto the sponge. That's plenty on there. We're going to brush it over basically like this, as you can see. Obviously I'm going to need 2 hands, so look, I'll just carry on and we'll pick up this on the other side. Well, 60 seconds later, and you can see where we're at. Did punch down a little bit grayer than I wanted, but this is a different scene as well. This would have been painted years ago and just left to go, so I think we'll just leave it like that, and we'll get it into place, and we might texture it back up with a little something later, but at the moment this should do fine.
Too much spare time, so I did a quick family portrait. Can you spot me? Sure you can. So as you grab your Tim Tam for a Tim Tam slam, or maybe a Scotch finger, and want to dunk your bicky in your cup of tea, whatever you prefer, here's some close-up tree shots of the bark I was chasing. Not the exact trees, but I think if you go up to a tree and get a good picture, you really see what it is I'm trying to do with that crushed bark. I also needed to pick up a couple of benches, as you just saw me preparing up there. And that was from M&K Railway here on the Fraser Coast. And while I was waiting, I was a bit early before they opened for the morning. Here's a couple of shots of their trees and their outdoor layout. They have a G-scale layout and also a little ride-on one as well with a feature layout on the inside. Let's keep going.
This is looking good. I don't really think we can pack much more detail into the scene. So just before we get this cleanup happening, I got a couple of benches. I can't see anywhere practical to put these guys in. I might even just have to put one in, to tell you the truth, under a shady tree. That's usually where they are.
And in actual fact, I can really only fit one under there. I did stick the other one on the side, you'll see in the final shots. But now let's just check everything's functioning and we can wrap this one up.
No bumps. Everything looks good. Still some good opening. This is a good shot. You can come in and see I still have room for the scene I was planning on creating with the bike. I've left those figures aside for the minute. The video is too long, but I think it's okay, and we're making excellent clearance.
Yes, I did dust that loose grass that was sitting on top of the searchlights of the signals there.
Well, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. From where it is now, which is pretty much finished, and standing here looking down, especially with the light coming through like the real life, it creates some amazing shadows and the exact detail I was looking for that directly. Beautiful, shady, cool canopy on a hot day directly under where that path is.
from certainly parks and areas that I know growing up. Now, the other thing is I wanted to just point out really briefly is that we're obviously going to need to get trains going again for the Christmas running session, is that one thing I was a little concerned about is the trees obviously frame the situation up that I'm concerned that can I really get to see the train running or not, which I obviously have these areas like the equestrian scene and that open sections in the middle where I do get a good view. But most importantly, when I was looking at it thinking that's a problem, I put my head around looking basically where I am now going, oh, now that's going to look fantastic. So I guess that's what I've always been pointing out from the get-go, is we keep making some reasonably detailed scenes that at first seem like, why even bother about doing this or that side of that, and no one's ever going to see the other side of the fence with the custom graffiti on it. Well, the thing is, maybe they are. Because the whole idea is, as we're going to get cameras that I can sort of manipulate into tighter areas, I have been worrying about you as the person viewing the layout for the first time, not viewing it like this, but in the scenes you can come into and looking at it the other way. So I think we're going to end up getting some magnificent shots when those trains are running again. But in the meantime, as always, look, I have no idea where we'll head off to next, but you can bet it's going to be a whole bunch of fun. We really do need to get back to where this bit with this canal bit. I still haven't had any great ideas, but I just want this finished, so I've sort of got a pretty completed scenic run at the moment. That's one of the key holes that I still have open, but we'll see where we go. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Please do stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. Toodles!